So the pump can deliver water into the house and to the garden by itself. But what happens when you run out of the rainwater? What has been developed is an automatic device which actually, when you run out of rainwater, will switch over to mains water. And this helps the householder to have things that are fully automatic rather than having to manually go and change something over. So there's really two ways of managing this changeover system in a rainwater harvesting situation. We've got the mains water bypass system or a top-up system. So firstly, just explaining the top-up system. The top-up system uses main water put into the top of the tank, which maintains always a minimum level in the water tank. The pump then delivers to the house and the garden 100% of the time. So the pump is always the deliverer of water to the house. In a bypass system, what happens is that the mains water is connected directly to the rainwater and uses a bypass switching device which switches over to mains water once the rainwater has been used out of the tank. These switching devices are devices that are connected to the mains water, so then need to be approved to a standard which is ATS 5200.477 and need to be watermarked because they're connected to mains water. So let's talk about the advantages of both systems. The advantage of a bypass system is that it only uses the pump when there's water in the rainwater tank. So when the rainwater tank is all used, it'll automatically switch over to mains water and use the mains water without the need for the pump. Therefore, they're more energy efficient because they're using the pump less often, and they're using the embedded energy in the main system to provide the mains water when required. Because they're using the pump less, there's less reliant on the pump for maintenance purposes, but also if there's a loss of power, electricity, then the pump, the mains water will automatically switch in and provide water to the toilets and essential services. Also, the tank will completely empty when you run out of rainwater, which also helps for stormwater events and stormwater management. The advantages of a top-up system is that it has low initial cost. This is because you don't need the complexity of having a bypass system. So let's talk a bit more about how a bypass system works and the types of bypass systems that are on the market. So a bypass system uses rainwater when rainwater is available in the tank, bypasses to mains water when there's no rainwater in the tank. When it rains again, it goes back to tank water. The same scenario for pressure is if you're using it for garden watering, then it's recommended that you have pressure in both the mains and the pump of over 300 kPa. There's three categories of systems that are on the Australian market: pressure reducing valves, hydraulic valves, and electronic systems. So what I'll do now is just cover each of them and talk a bit about what they are. A pressure reducing valve system operates by reducing the pressure from mains down to a specific pressure that the pump can overcome. So as we talked about earlier, the mains pressure is between 300 and 500 kPa. It'll reduce the pressure down to below what the pump pressure can deliver. So in a pressure reducing valve system, what will happen is when you're on the pump, it'll produce the pressure that the pump delivers. When you're on mains, it'll actually produce a lower pressure than what the typical mains pressure is because of the reduction in pressure. When we go to a hydraulic system, it works in a similar way, but when it's on mains pressure, it actually delivers full mains pressure to the house and to the garden. So it could be, if it's 500 kPa it's delivering, it'll deliver that when it goes back to mains pressure. Uses the hydraulics to enable that to work. When you look at an electronic switch device, what it does is uses a solenoid to switch between the mains water and the rainwater. The solenoid valve in some cases uses mains water on initial pump start and at low flow. This actually helps when you, in pump starts at low flow, so it reduces the number of pump starts at low flow, saving energy. But the trade-off is it sometimes uses mains water when there is actually rainwater available in the system. So in choosing a bypass system, what you need to consider is what you're really using the water for within your house system. So are you using it for garden watering? Do you like the pressure in your garden water system as high pressure so you can use the hose and get good coverage from the hose? Do you want to run an irrigation system, a small irrigation system to use that water, and you need some additional pressure both on the pump and on the mains? Or do you just want to run inside the house and that's your main focus in delivering water, rainwater to the house? That will be a decision which one you choose on that side. In terms of reliability, it's really important to consider that this is an appliance that you're going to be using for a long length of time. So it has to be able to deliver the same operation for a considerable length of time, and you should be looking at trying to have a system that will operate for the next 10 years. It's important to do some research on that and make sure that you select wisely. Also, it needs to be water and energy efficient. So it's important to do some research and find out what things are water efficient and what things are energy efficient, and choose wisely.